So we're going to tackle something called percentage of need met. So go ahead and take a deep breath, because I'm going to take a deep breath because it can be a very complicated concept, but I'm going to try to break it down as much as I can because I want you to know it. So let's take a deep breath together. All right. Y'all ready? All right. Percentage of need met. All of you are going to fill out financial aid documents. Those financial aid documents, and I give you a link in the action steps that allows your family to kind of do a preliminary document. If you have an older sibling, they kind of already know how much money you're going to get, but you're going to do this document. Either you could do it, like I said, now, early on, or you could wait until October 1st is when all of these documents come live. So this is like your FAFSA, your CSS profile, any other financial aid document. That document, you're going to give all of your family's information. Really, your family fills it out, but I would encourage you to sit down with them, kind of fill it out together, make sure that they do it. And you have to add the schools that you're going to apply to the list. So they can't do it alone. You can't just say, hey, mom, take care of this. No, you actually need to be a team to do this together. So once you submit all of that information, there's a number that comes back. That number is called your EFC. Your EFC is broken down to expected family contribution. Based off of what your family makes, their expenses, etc., will determine how much a school or schools in general will expect your family to contribute. So that number can range from anywhere from 0 to, infinity. So depending on that number will determine your EFC. Once you have that number, the school uses that information to determine how much financial aid they're going to offer you. So if you're not sure what a percentage of need met is, let's try it out together. Go ahead and open up the web, maybe on your phone if you're watching on your tablet or your laptop, or if you're watching on your phone, go ahead and pause me and go ahead and open up the internet and search the words percentage of need met at University XYZ. So this is going to be how much a university will fund a family, including you as a student, and it can range from around 50% need met to 100% need met, based off of the needs of your particular family. So this is why this lesson is also really complicated, right? Let's say you and your friends all want to go to the same school. You dreamt to do this together, and you see yourself on campus and living together and, having fun together and doing all the things that you want to do together. Unfortunately, money is going to be the great separator for this process. And this is why you have to make this a personal thing. It can't really be a group thing unless you have a twin or a sibling that's going with you together. And so I want you to understand that now is time to kind of make that separation. This is my situation with my family. I can't assume it's going to be the same for other people. And we want to be respectful of asking, because it might not be something that people are really excited to talk about. And there could be shame on both ends, right? There could be shame for not having enough, or it could be shame for having enough and feeling bad about that because you realize your other friends don't. Let me tell you a secret. Neither of you deserve to be ashamed. There's nothing you could have done to control your outcome in life right now. It just is what it is. But what you do want to control is how you take this information and move forward with it. So hopefully you had an opportunity to search it out. So if you want, you can do one or two things. You can pause me and search out the percentage of need met for all the schools on your list, just to kind of understand the percentage. All of the schools, if you search it out, it'll say it. So once you do that, this is where it works with the expected family contribution. So if your EFC is 0, so your expected family contribution is 0, that means you have a high need. So a low number equals high need. A high number means a low need. And it means that your family, for a 0 and a high need, that your family is not expected to contribute as much compared to someone with a higher EFC and a low need. So if the EFC is greater than 0, the need is adjusted. So let's look at an example scenario. So I know it might seem like you might need to rewind me a couple times, but I'm going to break it down, and I have some other examples on the next slide. So example scenario. Let's say your EFC, your expected family contribution, is 0. Your family is not expected to have any money to pay for college. That means you have a high need. So let's say University XYZ. The cost of attendance is $50,000. The need that's unmet for this family is 100%. They have 0 expected family contribution. The school's percentage of need met is 100%. So what does that mean? They're going to meet 100% of what this family needs. So this family needs 100% because their EFC is 0. That means that their need unmet is 100%. So they're going to give them in financial aid $50,000. Now, hopefully you had a couple of schools on your list where their percentage of need met was not 100%, right? Because just because a family has an EFC of 0 and has a high need doesn't mean that every school is going to give their kid a full scholarship. And this is the part that's really, really important, because it's important on both ends of the spectrum. If a school says they're 100% need met and you have a high EFC, you're also not going to get a full scholarship when it comes to need-based money. You might get a full scholarship based off of athletics or academics or those sorts of things. But if they are providing money based off of need, you're not going to get a full need-based scholarship if your family has a high EFC, because they believe that your family has money to contribute to that particular piece. So let's look at some other ones where it's a little bit trickier. So let's go with scenario number 1. School A meets 100% need. The cost of attendance is $60,000. Your EFC is $15,000, and that means that your need is $45,000. So if a school meets 100% of the need, that means the financial aid package will cover $45,000. But your family still has to pay the full EFC, which is $15,000, right? So a school meets 100% need, but a kid doesn't have 100% of a need. They have $45,000 out of $60,000 of a need. And so because they still meet it, their family has to pay the EFC piece, and then they'll cover the financial aid package, which is what the school will give you, will cover $45,000. All right, let's try scenario 2. School B meets 80% of the need. So the cost of attendance, we're gonna, keep that as $60,000. The family's EFC is $10,000. That means that your need is $50,000. So how much will the school actually cover? They're going to cover $50,000, but not the full amount, only 80% of that, because they're going to cover 80% of your need. So 80% of the need is going to be around, let's say, it's going to be around $36,000 to $38,000, right? So they're going to cover that, and your family is going to pay the balance of that. So your family is going to pay $12,000 plus $10,000, which is $22,000. So you see how that works? You see how the EFC is $10,000, and even when a school meets 80% of your need, it's still almost doubled the amount that they have to pay. Right? So it basically doubled it. So you have to make sure that if they need 80% of the need, you subtract how much your EFC is. So if the EFC is 0 in this situation, then that means that the need is going to be $60,000, and the school will only cover 80% of that. So when you think about 80% of that, of $60,000, can your family afford it? I know it feels like, wow, they're giving a lot, but a lot with the balance of $12,000 for a family doesn't have any money to be able to contribute. Or even a family who says they have $10,000 to contribute, that's a lot of money. And now that $10,000 went to $22,000, right? So in scenario 2, they meet 80% of the need. Cost of attendance, $60,000. Your EFC is 10. So they're already expecting you to pay that. So your need is now $50,000, but they're only going to cover 80% of that. So 80% of that, like I said, is somewhere between $36,000 and $38,000. And so the balance of that is going to be around 12. So 12 plus the 10 is going to be $22,000. It's important for you to know that, because a family is saying, no, I said I got $10,000. And the important thing that you have to realize is whatever your family will pay, you need to multiply by either 2 or 4 if you're going to a 2-year school or 4-year school. That's what they can pay. Scenario 3. Let's do this last one. So the school meets 0% of need, right? They don't have any funding based off of need. So if the cost of attendance is $15,000 and your EFC is 5, your need is 10. Financial aid package will cover based off of need is $0. Your family will need to pay the entire $15,000. So you see how you have to understand the scenarios. You have to see which one will fit your family's package. So when you're looking at schools and you're still developing your list and you're saying, is this a good financial fit? You got to make sure that it's a financial fit at the end of taking out your EFC and your need. Now, let's just, be honest. If for scenario 3, a school is not giving anything in terms of need, right? It doesn't mean that the kid won't get anything. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get anything. It means that you're not going to get anything based off of your family's financial situation. You still might get $5,000 for academic scholarship. You might get $5,000 in leadership scholarship. You might get a grant for $5,000, and then guess what? Boom, paid. Right? So again, this is just saying this is what they're going to give you based off of financial aid. It also means that you can still get a loan, right? There's loans that are available, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. It also means you can get external scholarships, and we'll talk about that as well, right? But this is how you need to understand, especially if you know that your family's EFC is pretty low, right? Less than around $20,000 when thinking about the cost of schools now, right? Schools are between like $50,000 and $80,000. And so if your family can cover less than $20,000, then you have to really do this math early on to know that, okay, this is how much a school is basically saying that I'll get. And just making sure that you take care of that particular understanding as you're thinking about your list. So remember, we talked about our list. We could have schools on our list that are, kind of we're a little bit concerned about. And those concerned schools are because we need really good financial aid packages. That's fine too.